Hello everyone, and in this tutorial we're going to take a look at how to make these basic wood panels using the new cops. Okay, so I'll just get started. I'll create a new copnet and we'll start working in that. I'll just call it wood panels. Okay, so let's jump in. Right now it's at 1K resolution, but we can increase it later. Like that doesn't really matter. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll start off with a simple fractal noise. So what I want to do is I just want to stretch it out horizontally. So let's take a transform 2D. I'll keep the X scale to 20 and the Y scale to 0.4. Yeah, there you go. And you can also you can define how much roughness you want, but right now I think we're good with this. Okay, let's also take this. You can sort of if you want more darker lines, you can sort of adjust the contrast and stuff. But in this case, right now, I think we are okay with this. Now, along with this, we might also want some smaller grains, because these are the larger lines. So you want something smaller as well. So what I can do is I can just duplicate this. And in this case, first of all, let's just make this a little different. So let's make it about 2 and 0.4. I'm going to take the element size really small. So it's, very, very tiny. And I'll take a remap and just keep a few of these. So I'm going to take this and just increase it till we just have, a few dots left over here. Yeah, so something like this, and maybe let's make it 5 so it stretches out a bit more. Yeah, I think this is okay. Except hold on, let's do one thing. Let's reverse this out. Yeah, this is good. So we just have this. Okay, and then we can multiply these two together. So just take a multiply, and we can multiply these two things together. So what you'll get is the larger lines with these smaller grains in there. Okay, now the biggest thing we need to do is we need to distort this. So, wood is not straight lines, so we need to make it a little wavy. Okay, so I'll just take another fractal, and what I'll do is I'll set this to UV. Okay, so sort of like that, and then just increase the element size a little. So let's do one thing. Let's take the element size to around 0.4. And yeah, I think this is good. So let's just distort this and then we'll make adjustments. Okay, so what you want to do is just take a distort, and the source comes in here and the fractal comes into the direction. So you'll end up getting this. Now, if you start to distort it, you won't get much, it's not bad. But what you want to do is you want to take the pixels per step to around 400. That will give you a much better result. And now I just want to sort of adjust it a bit. So let's take the center and make it 0. So it doesn't offset too much. And then we can adjust the contrast and we can adjust the amplitude. So you can sort of define how much you want. And then the more sort of wavy you want it, or the more detail you want, you can increase the roughness. So if you take it to this level, it starts to become more like marble. So you can also do marble with this if you want, see, so you can sort of, do veins like that if you want, and you can sort of adjust the lacunarity and all of those things. But I think for our purposes, this is fine. Okay, this, I think this is okay. And then you can just define how much you want. Okay, now along with this, I also want smaller sort of whirls into the whole thing. So what I'll do is I'll take another fractal noise, and I'm going to change this to, let's call it cellular, and I'll set this to Worldly Cellular F1. Let's just plug this in over here. Okay. And what I want to do is let's lower the roughness a little. I'm going to lower the size. Yeah, and then take a remap in here. Also make sure that this is also set to UV. Okay, so the first thing is I just want to flip this and just sort of, see, I can kind of just adjust it like that. See, so how much I want. and we can adjust the size of it. See, so you have like these little holes in there, and then we can just adjust, you know, the whole thing depending on what we want. See, so you have like these little holes, you know, in the whole thing. Yeah, see, so this looks nice. And now what I can do is I can just add these two things together. So take an add here. So the larger distortion, and then this is just, you know, the smaller stuff. And there you go. And we can sort of adjust this thing a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. So this looks nice. Okay, and then you can also like, you can adjust the remapping here to define like how much you want, or you know, you can adjust from here as well. Or we can adjust the size of this and just have like a few of these. See, so you can get a pretty decent sort of, you know, wood panel, or even like marble. I don't know, right now it's looking a bit like marble, so that's fine. Okay, and then we can just lower the distortion here so it's a bit more straight. Alright, so this is good. So this gives me the basic setup for wood. So now we need to make the tiles. Okay, so let's just take a tile map. So you'll get a tile pattern. So what I want to do is change the pattern type to stretch or bond, and then the pattern size will be, we'll make it 5 in X. So it will stretch out like this, which is fine enough. And now, and nothing else, you don't need to change anything else. Like if you want to change, maybe you can adjust like the horizontal scale, or, you know, like all of these things, but this is not needed at the moment. We won't need anything else from here. You can also do stuff like you can do vertical jitter, or you can do like row offset if you want to do those things. But right now for our purposes, this is good enough. Okay, you can also do things like round corners, which is going to look a little weird on this. Okay, so the first thing I want to do with our tile map is I want to take this and sort of just offset them a little based on each panel. Okay, so what I can do is you get an ID value over here. Like if I take a null, and you'll get like ID. Okay, you get ID, you also get like per tile UVs, which we don't need right now, but IDs is good enough. Okay, and I can use the ID to sort of distort this. Okay, so what I can do is I just want to move these sort of, you know, vertically, like just a little up down. So I can take another distort. Okay, so I can just take a distort here. And I don't want to modify the direction, like the direction we'll keep it to angle. I'll just modify the scale. Okay, so I can just take this. Now what I want to do is I just want to get like grayscale values from this. Okay, so what I can do is I can take a random. Okay, so we can do random mono, and it has this option here for seed. So just take this output and plug it into seed, and you'll get something like this. And what I also want to do is just turn on 0 negative IDs. Okay, so the center areas or the gaps will become black. Otherwise the gaps are white, and that will get distorted too. Not that it matters, because we'll, you know, overlay that with something else. And the nice thing about this is that you can keep modifying this. So that seed value, you can keep changing it. Okay, so this is good. And what I'll do is I'm just going to take this and plug it into scale, come into distort, set the angle to 90 degrees, and just take the scale and kind of offset it. So what you'll get is this, and take the pixels per step to 1000, and there you go. Okay, so what you get is you get like this little bit of, you don't want to move it horizontally, because sometimes then you'll start seeing like these gaps, which is not something that we want. So 90 is fine. So you just move it up and down vertically. So you get like each panel looks slightly offsetted, which looks good. And then if you come to your random and change seed values, you get different results. So that's fine. Okay, so this looks nice. Okay, so now I need to make it look a little bit more like wood. Okay, and that is where I kind of lucked out. So what I did was you take something called height to ambient occlusion and just plug that in. It requires a black and white input, like a mono channel. And all you have to do is just take the height scale and increase it. And what that does, it's sort of like, it gives it a lot more sharper details, which is excellent. You know, so for our purposes, this is great. You can also try to, you know, make some changes here and see what it looks like. You can adjust the ramp if you want. See, so you get like more details like these if you want. So suddenly, like what was looking like generic noise ends up looking like wood, you know, which is a lot better over here. Okay, and then now you can start to color this. But let's also do one thing. Let's bring in like the black lines over here. So the first thing you can do is just take like the basic black lines and we can do a multiply. And I can multiply it with the tile map over here. So what will happen is you'll just get like, these lines in the middle, which now makes it look like wood panels. So if you don't know this, you can also minimize these. So if you select it and you just click here, you can minimize these. Now what I also want is I also want it to be slightly softer. Okay, like these are very sharp lines. So what I can do is I can just take a blur. Okay, and I can plug this in. And I can blur this out a little. Okay, then take a remap. We'll do this like a couple of times. So just take a remap and I can, adjust that. Yeah, see, so it sort of just, increases a bit and then take a blur again. Yeah, and just sort of, increase that. So what this will do is it will give you like a slight bit of beveling, on the borders over there. So if I just take another multiply and plug that in and take this and plug it in here. See, so it gets a little bit softer and you can adjust that like how much you want, but this is nice. So you get like, a little bit of soft detail on the side. Now what you can also do is you can check this at a higher resolution if you want. So let's say if I take this to like 2K and there you go. Now if it doesn't show you a change immediately, then what you can do is just come into the CopNet and change any parameter and it will update the whole thing. But I think right now we'll just keep it to 1K, which is fine. Okay, we can adjust the resolution later. Okay, so we've done this. This is fine. Now, in order to color this, I'm just going to take a mono to RGB. But the question is like, where do you pick up colors from? Okay, like if you're good with colors, it's fine. Otherwise, the simplest thing to do is just come on Google and do a search for like wood panels. And then if you have lab tools installed, this will be in there. You can just right click here on the ramp and say sample screen colors and just sort of like drag a line across what you want. And there you go. So it does this. And what you can do is, I think we should do this before we do anything else. So let's put that here. And if we come in here, see, so there you go. Okay, but you can also then adjust it, like just take these and maybe like, get rid of some of these. And so you can just pick up, anything from anywhere and just, work with that. And we can try to do, we can take like a HSV adjust and plug that in over here. And you can adjust like the saturation or you can adjust the hue or whatever, like make changes to that. Anyways, I think this is good. For now, this is fine. Okay, this is not the best looking wood that you can get, but okay, I think this is okay. So now let's make a few final adjustments to this. Okay, so firstly, I want to do like a per panel color offset and also like a value change. So what I can do is I can just take the same thing that I had here. I can take this, RGB to mono, and let's take an HSV adjust. And I can plug this in as a mask over here. So we have this. And then if I make any kind of saturation changes, see, so we're just affecting like, specific panels, and you can come in here and you can make changes to this. See, so you'll get like, different results. We can also come in here and maybe adjust the value scale a little bit, or a value shift, or like any changes you make. So now that's sort of, it's being masked out by this guy. And what you can also do along with this is, if you want, we can do like a simple multiply and multiply it with the same thing. So I can just take a multiply here. I'll put a remap and take this into a remap and plug it over there. So you'll get this. Okay, and what I can do is I can just take this and kind of just adjust it. Or if you want it completely random, then we can, duplicate this. So Control C, Control V, and so that they're not connected together. So I can just, make some adjustments. Yeah, so not like the best thing that you can do. Let me just pick up colors again. I'm not very happy with this. Okay, I think that looks better. Yeah, that looks a lot better. The faster you go, the lesser nodes it will generate. If you go very slow, it generates a lot of them. I think I want this to be slightly more reddish. Let's put an HSV adjust before everything else. And I can just take this here. Yeah, I think this is good. So if I come in here to this one and make changes, see, so you can have this whole thing sort of, adjust a little bit, and then you can come to like this fractal noise, make some changes. Yeah, there you go. I think that's more wood-like than what was before. But yeah, you can make adjustments any which way you like with this. And that's pretty much it. So now what you can do on top of this is we can then generate like a specular map and a roughness map and a bump map. So what I can do is, let's take a material. So let's take a preview material and let's plug this into base color. So we have this, and then we'll have to just redo a little bit. Yeah, let's take this guy before we start coloring it, and we'll do a multiply. So this comes in here, and the basic tiles come in there. So yeah, so it's just this, and we can plug this into roughness. Okay, so let's just take let's take a remap. Always take a remap, so let's just call this roughness. I'll put a null here. Let's call this as color. Yeah, and I can plug this into roughness. Where is roughness? Yeah, so if you look at this, yeah, see, there you go. Oh, that actually looks nice. But then you can define like how much you want, so we want like a little more, and this needs to be a little bit less. So you can sort of, adjust how much you want. See, sadly the specular doesn't seem to be doing too much. Like I can lower it. Yeah, I think this is good. But plugging this into the specular map wasn't giving me the result that I wanted. Okay, I think it's doing it now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, I think this is better. So let's call this specular, and we'll do another one. Let's plug this into roughness. Yeah, there you go. And then lastly, we want to do a bump map. So in our case, a normal map. So what we can do is I can just take the same, we'll take the random node. Okay, so we'll do like Control C, Control V, because we want like per tile, per panel to have like, slightly different heights. So it will be just this. And what you can do is just take a height to normal, but let's also multiply this with the blurred maps that we had, like this guy. Okay, so let's just take a multiply here, and yeah, let's just take this and plug it in there. Yeah, so we'll have like a little bit of, rounding on this, and I can plug that into the height. So it goes from height to normal, and then plug that into normal. There you go. So you'll get this, and we can take a look at this with my, final result, except this is way too much. So just take this, and you can adjust the height scale like a little bit. But then if you also want like the wood panels into it, I think we need more, or maybe make it slightly less. Oh, hold on, that is roughness. So I can lower the specular. See, there you go. Like the specular seems to work when you're in standard mode, but then when I come into like the high quality, it just stops working. So it's kind of useless in that sense. We can just adjust both of them. Okay, that's not bad. Let's keep that. Yeah, I wish like the new viewport is nice, but it's still like a work in progress. And we can also plug in the wood panels if we want. Let's take this. This will be too harsh. Or let's try this. Okay, so let's just take the ambient occlusion from here. I'll do another multiply. And I'll plug this in over here. So there you go, you get that. But now what you want to do is just take this multiply value and take it like really low. So it's just like a little bit. So see, there you go, you get like a little bit, not a lot. So now I can just come up here and increase the resolution. Let's go up to 2K and see what we get. Yeah, so it hasn't really updated. So what you want to do is just come in here and maybe make like a small adjustment. There you go, so it updates. Yeah, so there you go, that's not bad. Okay, so that's it. So this is how, let's just try changing the preview object. Instead of grid, let's try a sphere. Yeah, that's not bad. That looks, oh, that actually looks pretty nice. On like different stuff, it looks better. Like let's do shader ball. Oh, that is actually not bad at all. Like I can just press, can we get better? No, we're at max anti-aliasing samples, so that doesn't matter. No, I think this is it. Let's try to increase UV scale. Yeah, that's not bad at all actually. Looks much better on, a better model. Anyways, that's pretty much it. So this is how you can make wood panels in the new COPs.